think that just by way of introduction, before I make you set up, personally, for some time, I have been wondering why what you are doing now has not been done. Because if a party is in government, and for example, if you want to construct this Burma Camp Road, the Gifford Road, for example, I don't think the opposition should actually oppose it. They should support it so that it is done. When they come to power, they will have one less road to worry about. And then, above all, I've been saying that this country, the way we are going, we need a 15-year development plan, which should be a blueprint out of which every party should take its manifesto from. And that, I think that's the only way to move forward, because as it were, we are going around in circles. So your committee was a very welcome one. When I heard of it personally, I said, yes, now we are getting somewhere. So we as members of the armed forces, we are in full support of it. We plan and plan and plan all the time. But depending on the government in power, of course, they have their priorities. And so we have, we always have a kind of jigsaw, zigzag, we make mistakes. But I think I'm very, very happy. And also those of us in the armed forces, because we know that now we can stay on track. At least we can see the way forward and move on track, so that we don't waver too much, because in wavering becomes a big problem. I was surprised when I became the Chief of Defense Staff. I went to Kumasi and I saw projects from Achampon's days which has been abandoned. Obviously, it's now, there have been a lot of similar projects, not as long as that, but they are there. I think that the National Development Planning issue is the right way forward, and we in the armed forces will give it all the support we can.
The Development Planning Commission in many ways is a bit like you, as you said, we are professionals. We are above political parties. We are mandated by the Constitution and by the law establishing the NDPC itself, and by a number of statutes that are relevant for the definition of our mandate. We are a constitutional body mandated by the Constitution to spawn development plans for the country, as well as pronounce upon the macroeconomic policies that we pursue. And so we do this professionally, not at the behest of any party. But you started on a very sound note, namely the commitment of all stakeholders, including the political parties, to whatever plans we developed as an NDPC. And also the concern you expressed about something you heard about, from some representative of the political party, suggesting perhaps that the party, I don't quite know what the context was, may not feel bound by what we do. Well, that's a good one of departure. As you know, we launched the 40-year long-term plan. We launched the process for the preparation of this plan not too long ago at the conference center, called the Pink Lady, I think, recently, not too long ago, to kick off a process. On that occasion, we noted that when the Constitution Reform Committee went around the country to gather views about the changes that citizens wish to see in the Constitution, one of the clearest messages that they got as they went around was a certain yearning for a long-term plan for the country. Obviously, because the average person could feel that and see that while we were doing a succession of budgets and some plans, there was a certain lack of coordination, a certain lack of direction, and just too many breaks in the continuity of our development planning effort. This has become a popular yearning, so to speak, and this is one of the things that the committee gathered. And so the committee felt, in fact, that the reforms that needed to be made to the Constitution had to include reforms that would strengthen the mandate of the NDPC and its capacity to discharge this very core mandate of development plans. We have had some development plans in the country before, going back all the way to Burgessburg in the 20s. But as you rightly noted, we haven't, followed these plans systematically. They've been buffeted by political changes and the lack of resources and so on. So our quest, basically, is to relaunch this initiative, to cast a long-term vision. There have been some concerns, and we are here because we believe that the sustainability of this long-term plan depends not so much on the law saying that it is binding on everybody, but on the buy-in of major stakeholders in the country, including the political parties and the wider spectrum of civil society, whose core membership is the people themselves. And so in execution of this conviction, we went round and paid courtesy calls on the key stakeholders, just to let them know beyond the public launching what we were about to commence. We kicked off with the regions. We've done a good number of them, 6 of them already, and I think tomorrow we are going to the Eastern region and then to the National House of Chiefs in Kumasi. And we thought in this connection we went to the Council of States, among others, and we thought it was important also to pay a courtesy call on the armed forces. You are also a key stakeholder. When all is said and done and written, the political and social environment in which the plan is executed over time will need the very active support of the armed forces and the role that you play. So for this reason, we consider you a key stakeholder in the consultation process, and we thought it was appropriate to pay this courtesy call on you, just to let you know what we're doing, the context in which we're doing it, our reaction to some of the concerns that have been expressed. And it's interesting that in your prefatory remarks, you yourself touched on one of these very core issues that have arisen. We're casting a long-term vision. Every country must have a long-term vision. It's a 40-year plan, one that should coincide with Ghana at 100. Concerns have been expressed by some who say that it's too long a vision. Others, but there's some misunderstanding clearly that we have sought time and again to clarify in the minds of the public. Yes, it's a long-term plan, and so we are casting a long-term vision over a long-term horizon to define a framework and a broad vision of where we want Ghana to be at the level of infrastructure, at the level of industry, in general development, at the level of our culture as a people, our citizenry. We're casting a long-term vision, and it's good to have cast a long-term vision. One, especially one that coincides with Ghana at 100. But it is not a 40-year plan that says we wait and then wake up at the 40th year and see everything, sprung to life. It is actually going to be a set of 4 rolling 10-year plans, punctuated even still by 4-year medium-term plans that parties coming to power over this span would develop. The important thing is that these intermediate plans will all need to be guided and informed by the vision and the objectives of the long-term 40-year plan.
A price to pay for not having the vision. Recently, we might have heard in the news the story of what happened at Legon, for example, which turned away 17,000 qualified students. 17,000, not 7,000 or 700 or 70, but 17,000. Even if just 7,000 of them find alternative enrollment somewhere, that still leaves us with 10,000 students, potential people like you or architects or medical doctors that we need for national development, and yet we cannot have. And this situation we found ourselves in precisely because 30 years ago or 40 years ago, no one thought into the future to say, well, by the year 2015, no Ghanaian child should face this situation. But we didn't think that. We thought we could model our way through, and we've been faced with this situation. So, as Dr. Buttigieg said, this is a very appropriate initiative to help us guide these things. It's not going to be in the 40th year. In fact, the plan itself will start in 2018. So currently we have more than 2 years to prepare it. And it's also critical to remind ourselves that, in fact, the person, possibly even a female, who would be president of Ghana by the year 2057 has already been born, probably in the secondary school, possibly in a polytechnic or university somewhere. So it's not as far-fetched for us to think that in preparing over the next 40 years, there are people doing even bigger things. Last month or so, Stanford University in the United States announced a 100-year research program for artificial intelligence. They may not be here by the time they do, but at least we expect to. So that's the nature of the future. The future belongs to those with a vision to do that. And I'm glad to say that Ghana has been part of it. And we've always been pace setters. When Kwame Nkrumah decided to lead the independence movement, we were just a small population of less than 6 million or thereabout, and yet we managed to progress. So that's precisely the kind of path that we're also blazing now. As Dr. Buttigieg said, we've started the regional consultations. They will come to an end in November, at the end of November. And then we'll take December and early January to rest and write reports and so forth. Then starting in February, we'll begin what we'll call the technical consultations. We'll involve all stakeholders, including the forces, for them to tell us what they would also like to see in the document as we are preparing it. There's a section of the document called the NIP, the National Infrastructure Plan. They'll look at different sections, but one of them has to do with facilities, for example, civic facilities, public facilities, offices, barracks, either for police or armed. What kind of facilities would you like to see over the 40 years? You mentioned the fact that you went to Kumasi and you saw projects that have been abandoned since the Champon's time. And I was just telling Dr. But I grew up in Kumasi and I used to hang around the barracks, and there were these round buildings near the Komfanachi Hospital. I was amazed to go back there over 40 years later and see that the same old buildings are there. All these things are happening because we never really had a long-term vision that, listen, by 2015 these buildings shouldn't be there, there should be this kind of thing. And so we are very, very happy that we're doing this. The public support has been overwhelming. People have actually been walking into our offices with documents that they think we should use for these things. They've been sitting in their homes. We've heard from Ghanaians abroad who's also made very useful contributions. And so we are very much encouraged by all that, and certainly encouraged by the fact that you made time from your busy schedule to receive us, for us to give you a kind of a progress report on what we've done so far. And as I said, in February, between now and February, of course, we'll engage your aides and so forth and so that we set up the parameters for formal engagement. It could be in the form of writing, how you see the world. A unique part of our plan also is the introduction of a chapter called Ghana and the International Community. If you look at our previous plans, we haven't really explicitly looked at Ghana's position in the global community, but we do know that even dating back to Nkrumah's time, the armed forces were very prominent in promoting peace around the world. Now we have to structure and provide better parameters for us. So all those things will come to play once we have this formal engagement I'm talking about. And as I said, once this meeting is over, we'll begin to engage your assistants and so forth, so that we lay the groundwork for the eventual technical engagement. And we definitely hear from us. Thank you very much.